So thanks for joining me today, Johnson. It would be great if we could start with you telling us a bit about the University of Nairobi and your role there.
Thank you, Dr. Anthony Manning. My name is Johnson Ireri Kinyua from the University of Nairobi. The University of Nairobi is one of the largest universities in East and Central Africa and among the top 10 best universities in Africa. We have 65,000 students, 1/3 of that being postgraduate students, and the other 2/3 is undergraduate students. Out of that population, we have around 2,000 international students. My role is make sure that the student welfare in campus is taken care of. I am the Dean of Students and also in charge of career services. My role is basically to ensure that the welfare is taken care of, and when they are exiting the university, they have a safe landing out there in the job market. So we prepare them for the job market in terms of employabilities and how to make their CVs and how to link them with the industry. So basically, that's my role, Anthony, at the University of Nairobi.
Thank you very much. So we're here today to talk about internationalization at home. And I wanted to ask you first, why do you feel that internationalization at home is something that's important?
Thank you. Globalization is here with us for every university that aspire to be a world-class universities. So we may not have a lot of international students, but we try to internationalize the environment and bringing it the dimension of the international nature within the University of Nairobi, because we know that the world has become a global village. Whatever is happening in America, Europe, Asia, and also within the continent of Africa, our students are bound to experience that internationalization. So basically, those dimension and cultural aspect of the world, we bring them to our local students so that they are able to fit in within a global setup. That's how I look at it from my perspective.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah. And I wanted to know also if you could tell us about your institutional approach to internationalization at home at Nairobi.
We have that strategy. One is to make sure, because Africa continent is still growing, it's unlike the Europe, which has already grown. And as much as we do the internationalization at home, we also have a target to bring in, to raise our number of international students from 2,000 to 10,000 by the year 2025. But before we do that, we try to integrate those international cultural aspects like dance, language. We have 8 language centers, which we align with the UN international language. That's one way we internationalize. When the students have undertaken the language training, you can fit anywhere in the world. The other aspect is about culture and dance through close cultural immersion, whereby right now we may not be able to travel because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but we try to do what we call virtual student exchange program. We have debates with a student in China. We have debates with a student from France. We have debates from South America, Latin America. And basically the student where we show the Africa, the world drive, the tourism in Africa, and they also show their aspects of their life in Brazil and America, Europe, and all that. That's the kind of student exchange program we are having, virtually and online, by integrating that. The other aspect is the dress. We normally encourage our students to buy dress to reflect a particular culture. So at times we have a cultural day where we tell the student, so you research all about Indians, their language, and then we bring them like an international day. Although they are domestic in nature, but they have an international aspect of it. And that way you feel that even the behavior started changing, and students aspiring even to work in those particular environments, because in their pursuit of research, you find that they have gathered a lot of information about that country. And by and large, we feel that our university is international, but at home. So yeah, that's how I look at it, yeah.
So that's a very resourceful approach to seeing how you can bring the cultures of different countries to your campus, even though you might not have a large number of international students, so you encourage your students to celebrate and to research the features of different cultures in that way. That's exciting. That's really interesting and resourceful.
And something just to add, also food. We have international food competition among our students. all the cultures are there. And particularly, if I can mention, we started doing this in 2017 when we hosted the CASE. CASE is a Council for Advancement and Support of Education,
Yes.
which was hosted at the University of Nairobi, where we are able to bring about 28 countries to make presentation. But after that, we were able to now sit and see, can we do even food competitions, dress competition. Rwanda, they have a unique way of dressing, and we work with embassies actually to bring those aspects of culture within our universities.
Thank you very much indeed. And I wanted to ask you next then about the challenges that you might feel you face in building internationalization at home experiences or supporting internationalization at home within your community of staff and students.
I will say basically going to the international world and trying to imitate the international world at home is two different things, because the aspect, the feel and touch, the smell is quite different, because one has never, if some students have never taken an airplane to go to Europe, that one you cannot get it by trying to imitate the internationalization at home. The second aspect, the issue of culture, which you have to experience. Like now, if I send students to UK, there is that culture of Europeanness. There is a culture of beauty and serenity that you cannot feel it when you're at home. The issue of food itself, as much as we are trying to cook at home, is not the real food that I may eat in the European restaurants. The other issue of is basically the feel and touch of it. Like now, people say, I would like to go to America. You see the American movies, you see the American culture, cinema. But until you get into the American culture, you may never ever feel that kind of internationalization. So as much as we can do internationalization at home, it's quite different from a real aspect of the real happening right there in that country. For instance, right now, many people, we are doing online classes, but our students are almost staging demonstration that they want to feel the teacher himself in class. So as much as we can see him on the screen, but they want to see, I want to feel the teacher, the presence of the teacher. So that is the difference between internationalization at home and the real international. So these are the challenges we're gonna face and we are facing already.
Yes, indeed. So I understand what you're saying. It's about the immersive experience of internationalization through first-hand experiences overseas. Yes. And I suppose what you could argue is the limitation of some aspects of internationalization at home if you don't have a diverse international student body. But I suppose the flip side of that, I think, which you've already recognized, is not everybody has access to that international experience. So the richness in internationalization at home is the fact that you can bring that to everybody. So yes, perhaps it's not the same kind of immersive experiences as you'd get through mobility or exchange, but we have that potential to bring more people into the experience with us through internationalization at home. So I wanted then at this point to ask you, to what extent do you feel this kind of internationalization, the internationalization within our communities, on our campuses, is supported by the Kenyan government's approach to internationalization and the strategy around that?
Well, the Kenya government, particularly the Ministry of Higher Education and Research, is actually trying to promote the internationalization back at home, where we are showcasing our innovation as a universities to the rest of the world. We also have a program called Magical Kenya, where we showcase what Kenya is made up of in tourism, in beach, hotels, so many things. And that way, the Kenyans feel that, the Kenyans themselves and the students feel that you don't need to go anywhere outside Kenya. You can experience the world right here. To me, that is internationalization at the highest level. And the government, through the Ministry of Tourism, are actually trying to tell the student, you don't need to run away from this country. You can create opportunities from within, and the opportunities are immense. So they try to expose the countries, the urban life, the technology, and in terms of the universities, the government of Kenya has put up out University Education Fund, which many universities or higher education, tertiary education are applying for them to lift the standards to an international level to match with that of UK or America or Asian universities, and therefore reducing what we call the brain drain to the developed world. So the brain that we have, we can use them to develop our own countries. And basically, to me, I applaud our government of Kenya for such kind of initiative. And I'm happy being home, and I'm the happiest working here, but interacting internationally. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you. I agree with what you're saying. Many of the processes and activities associated with internationalization at home in terms of trying to unlock the benefit of diversity on our doorstep are things that we can apply to our local communities as well, in terms of trying to look more closely at different viewpoints, different experiences, different cultural insights that sometimes we can have within our own Indigenous community, as well as communities that we welcome to our campuses from overseas. When you explore other cultures in depth, you do start to appreciate your own culture in new ways as well. I also wanted to touch a bit more on the situation we faced with the pandemic this year. So in a way, this has been the year of internationalization at home. So I wondered if you could say what you have learned from the pandemic in that context.
Thank you once again. I think every single event in life has two sides of the coin, the bad side and the ugly side of it. And so in this COVID, as much as it has globally affected the economy, the politics, and the social infrastructure of the people, it has its own good side of it. One of it is being people from schools, primary, secondary, higher educations have embraced technology as a way of life. And it's something going to be permanently stamped in their mind that we can now teach more than thousands, hundreds of thousands at once. And they're able to reason through Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and all that. We disseminate our information through those kind of live. And secondly, now the work schedule has also changed. We used to work from 8 to 5, but now we work throughout, even at 2 a.m. I'm still working with the University of China when they are still awake, as we are still asleep. Later, I can work with America when we are asleep and they are awake. And that has changed the dynamic, and that has improved productivity at a great length and has produced massive knowledge. So to me, that aspect of it has also brought that turnaround in our country and also growth at large. Secondly, it has given people individual opportunity to unleash your own potential at your own pace without being harassed or being told this is the schedule that you need to do this. So basically, it has enriched a whole new paradigm shift as far as the education is concerned. And even my own small kid now know how to operate a Zoom. Now they are taught those Zoom. So Anthony, this is a whole new thing. So COVID has its own challenges.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so my next question, just as we finish, is about internationalization at home again, and what you'd like to do in the future, what your next steps you think would be.
As a dean of students, my next move and my vision is to develop holistic graduates who are market ready, future oriented, and globally competitive. So that aspect of global competitiveness is where I want to train the student that you can fit anywhere in this part of the world without necessarily going there. But if a job arises in that particular corner of the world, you are fit for it. And we are trying to borrow the best practices of the high-flying university like yours. So basically, we borrow the best practices of those universities, and then we train our students in what we call the UN Skills Center, on collaborations, on teamwork, on communication, on global thinking, design thinking. And basically, my future and my vision is to see that our students are high flyers, and we have developed a graduate profile of the kind of graduates that we want to produce. I try to discourage the aspect of Africanization and African time, where you have to delay a whole hour waiting and all that. It is basically putting the students into the cutting edge future where they can proudly belong without saying, I'm disadvantaged. They have to be empowered to fit in any part of this globe, irrespective of where you come from. We may have challenges of our own, but that does not prevent you from excelling in other cultural environments. So that's what I would say, that that's my vision and my future, producing holistic, market-ready, future-oriented graduates who are globally competitive. And I will not stop at any point until I see that vision realized for our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's very inspirational and a real highlight of how internationalization at home can be so crucial in developing the skills of students in really meaningful ways for their future. Thank you very much for joining me today. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.